When 8-year-old Emily found herself alone in the world, she didn't have much. A few dresses, a couple of books, and a small green turtle named Rufus. She also had her socks and underwear. Emily never said underwear aloud, never said anything very loud, because her mother worked for the wealthy Miss Luella Nash, and the old woman liked quiet. Peace and quiet, calm and order, crackers and cheese, and a perfectly brewed cup of tea. When she drove her carriage, however, and Luella always insisted on driving herself, she went a little bit crazy. Her neighbors called her Loony Lou. Her eyes would bulge, her mouth would grin, and she would lean so far forward she could have grabbed the horse by its tail. "Faster," she would call. "Faster!" And she'd slap the reins against the animal's side until the horse went racing through the streets of the town and the carriage rocked from side to side. "There goes Loony Lou," people would say. Once she was home again, however, Miss Luella Nash would hand the reins to a servant, straighten her bonnet, and step elegantly from the carriage, nodding politely to the neighbors who studied her from beyond the gate. As for little Emily, her father had died in a steamboat accident when she was just a baby. Ever since, she and her mother had lived in Luella's big house, in the back room behind the kitchen. Sometimes Emily's mother took her into the parlor to visit Miss Nash. Emily had to make sure that her hair was curled, her ears were clean, her nose was blown, her teeth were brushed, her nails were trimmed, her clothes were pressed, and her socks had not a wrinkle in them. She even took off her shoes so they wouldn't make any noise. And on the rare occasion that Miss Luella Nash asked her a question, Emily answered in a voice so soft it could have been the squeak of the lid on a mustard jar. Miss Luella Nash seemed to believe that grown-ups were always right. If the carriage master upset the horses and said that the gardener had done it, Luella Nash believed him. If the gardener bumped the rose trellis and said that the maid had done it, Luella Nash believed him too. And if the maid knocked over a vase and said that Emily had done it, then, of course, Luella Nash believed that also. "Dismissed," she would say to Emily at the end of a visit, waving the fingers of one hand and sending her from the room. So, little Emily was not allowed to be seen or heard unless she was on her best behavior, and Miss Nash would not let her do any work about the place, except for buttoning her own dresses and tying her own shoes, combing her own hair and brushing her own teeth. Emily was not allowed to help the servants with the dusting, because Miss Nash wanted it done just so. She could not feed the chickens, wash the dishes, husk the corn, gather the berries, or mop the floor. Everything had to be done exactly as Luella Nash thought right. Emily's mother encouraged her to do as much as possible in the room they shared. Emily learned to make a bed and shake a rug and sweep a floor and scrub a tub. But most of the time she could only sit at the window and watch the neighbor children at play. She was not allowed to join them because she might get hurt, Miss Nash had said. She was not allowed to go to school because she might learn bad words. Her mother taught her to read and write, but still, "How will I ever get along in the world if I can't do anything?" Emily asked Rufus, her turtle, as he sat on the back of her hand, and together they watched the world beyond the window.